Yeah, this list is difficult and is going to piss people off. I mean, it pisses me off, and I made it. Grossi Packer Nation, welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Arbitrary Lists. Tear societies apart. Grossi. And today we are going to be ranking the top 10 wide receivers heading into the 2021 season. And oh boy, this by far was the most difficult. We did the top 10 QBs, we did the top 10 running backs, but this one, because there's so many that you can make the argument for that should be in the top 10. And there's guys who are not in my top 10 that, you could just swap them in there, and I really wouldn't be able to argue. Guys like Calvin Ridley or DK Metcalf. Yeah, that's right, DK Metcalf is not in here. Yep, that's where the first stone is going to be thrown. But I'm going to give you my explanation as to why I rank them this way, why I think they deserve to be in the top 10, and then, you can grab your pitchforks and do what you got to do. And again, it's just my opinion, just my opinion. That's it. So starting off with number 10, you got Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen. Oh, God. Yep. Listen, Justin Jefferson had an amazing season last year, but it was one season. So he's got to do that on a little bit more of a consistent basis. But Adam Thielen, returning from an injury, had some issues with stuff this year, has Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball, had Justin Jefferson go off on the league, and still was able to be incredibly productive. Just under 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. The guy is such an incredibly dynamic weapon. I know this because the Green Bay Packers play against the Minnesota Vikings twice a year, and he's usually responsible for some pain, except when he's going against Jair Alexander. But Adam Thielen deserves to be in the top 10, and if there was anybody I was going to replace him with, this was where like Metcalf would have gone or Calvin Ridley would have gone. And the only reason that I didn't put those guys in was because Adam Thielen just has a body of work that just reeks of consistency, and he's just that good almost all the time, whether it's, with injuries, whether it's with another 1,000-yard receiver. He's just that good. And so because of that, I have to pay my respects and put Adam Thielen in the top 10. Number 9, you got Tennessee Titans wide receiver A.J. Styles? No, Brown. A.J. Brown, only been in the league for 2 years, but good God, is this kid good? And again, I already hear it. DK Metcalf's only been there for 2 years, Tom. So why is he not on here? Huh? Just because you hate the Seahawks? And, well, yes, I do hate the Seattle Seahawks. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. If you compare both of their years against each other, A.J. Brown just ekes out DK Metcalf on the stat sheet. But guy has had 19 touchdowns in 2 years. 11 last year. He's a deep threat. He's got some speed. And the guy, I think, this year is going to be on another planet. Now that you have Julio Jones on that team as well, and secondaries go, okay, which one do I cover? Yeah, have fun with that. Oh, and also you have Derrick Henry on there. So yeah, A.J. Brown, I think, is an absolute phenomenal receiver. Do I regret the Packers not taking him? Of course, but we also got some awesome offensive linemen. But A.J. Brown, I think, is going to be very dominant in this league for years to come. And if this is what he's done in his first 2 years, I can't wait to see what else he can do. Number 8, you got New Orleans Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. A little bit of a fall from grace because of recency bias, but he was injured. So, I got to still pay my respect. It's like Saquon Barkley. Like Saquon Barkley for me. And even CMC, phenomenal running backs. They drop a little bit just because, of injury. We'll see how they can respond to it. But Michael Thomas didn't play a whole lot last year. Had 5 starts, basically still had 11 yards per reception, though. Still a great player. I know everyone makes fun of him for just running slants, but listen, he's like Mr. Reliable. The question is going to be, how is he going to do with Taysom Hill and or Jameis Winston at the helm instead of Drew Brees? Is he still going to be able to put up those kind of numbers? I think he will. He still has some of the best hands in the NFL, and while slants are his primary route, listen, If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Number 7, you got Mr. Julio Jones. Another one who I think will rise up this list being on the Titans this year. Similarly to Michael Thomas, was injured last year, only had 9 starts, but still racked up 771 yards and 15.1 yards per reception. And again, on this Titans offense, it's just going to be a pick your poison. I think that they are just going to feast on defenses. And they're going to have to, because I don't like their defense. Their defense is not good. So they're going to have to put up like 50 points per game. But honestly, with Julio coming back from injury, that is going to be very, very possible on a very dangerous Titans offense. Number 6, you got Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver. It could be Chris Godwin on here, but it's going to be Mike Evans. Mike Evans. I feel like the guy doesn't get the respect that he deserves. His entire career, he's never had a season with less than 1,000 receiving yards. That is really damn impressive. He had Jameis Winston throwing to him for the majority of his career. Then Tom Brady comes in, and the guy gets 13 touchdowns last year. With all those other weapons, he still gets 13 touchdowns. He's a touchdown machine. He's big, he's agile, he's fast, he goes up for the ball, he has great hands. Yeah, Mike Evans is that guy. And he is so close to the top 5 for me. But there's just some guys that just edge him out. But Mike Evans, man, like, he needs to be talked about more. And maybe amongst Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, like, he is heralded as he should be. But I feel like in the national media, he's slept on. And not on this list, Mike Evans. I mean, the guy had 13 touchdowns and also caught the fewest number of receptions in his entire career last season. And still got 13 touchdowns. He's good. Number 5, you got Bears wide receiver Allen Robinson. You know, I would say I feel bad for Allen Robinson considering the QBs that he's had to throw to him. It's Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. But you could have came to Green Bay, Robinson. You could have came to Green Bay. So this is like kind of on you, but I do have to respect the guy is a damn good wide receiver. He has the worst QBs on this list by far. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, had over 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. The guy is a playmaker. And on an offense that can be anemic at times, Allen Robinson is a definite bright spot there. Now, if Justin Fields is actually handled correctly and is able to mature within the position and not get destroyed behind that offensive line and also terrible play calling by Matt Nagy, then he actually might have a QB that could throw to him. So, Allen Robinson, you deserve a top 5. A lot of it just because of the terrible, terrible QB play that you've had to deal with, and you're still putting up ridiculous numbers. So, salute to you. You still could have came to Green Bay, though. It's on you. Number 4, you got Bills wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Oh, Diggs. I remember going up against you twice a year, and you burned the Packers for like 150 yards. But Stefon Diggs, straight for a first-round pick to the Bills. Some people looked at that and were like, ooh, that's a little pricey. But oh boy, did that pay off. He's had 3 seasons back-to-back-to-back of over 1,000 yards. He had over 1,500 yards last season and 8 touchdowns. He was Josh Allen's pony boy. He was like, just go. I got you. And that offense was really, really good with him. Stefon Diggs helped make that offense as efficient as it was last year. Helped Josh Allen put up those insane numbers. I have no doubt that Stefon Diggs is going to continue to dominate over on the Buffalo Bills, and he might just do so well, it lands them in the Super Bowl. Number 3, you got the speedster on the Kansas City Chiefs, Mr. Tyreek Hill. I mean, this guy has such a combination of speed, ability, hands. It's over 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns last year. The guy is a monster. Pair him up with Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And yeah, you got an unstoppable tandem. And so Tyreek Hill, yeah, I don't see him slowing down anytime soon, literally, figuratively, and also metaphorically. What does any of that mean? I don't know, but he's fast. Number 2, you got Arizona Cardinals and former Houston Texan DeAndre Hopkins. Over 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, has a 9% drop rate. He's got some sure hands. Catching some Hail Marys over the Buffalo Bills. Remember that, Stefon Diggs? He does. He remembers it. Guy is the epitome of reliability and consistency. DeAndre Hopkins, it doesn't matter who his QB is. He's going to go and he's going to catch the ball. He's going to put up ridiculous numbers, even when it's guys like from the Texans. And they had Deshaun Watson, and look at all the magic they put together. Now, him and Kyler Murray, looks like they're putting some magic together too. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Why I have him at number 2. And finally, number 1, you got top 2, but not 2. Green Bay Packers wide receiver, Davante Adams. And you'd be like, oh, Tom, that's bias. No, Davante Adams is just that good. Best release in the NFL. And this is not coming from me. Go and watch corners talk about him. You saw what he did at Jalen Ramsey in the divisional game? Yeah, he's that good. Goes up against the top corners, doesn't matter. Still is going to feast. Led the league with 18 touchdowns, and he missed, and he only played 14 games. Over 1,300 yards. And people will be like, oh, well, there's just been a couple seasons where he's gotten over 1,000 yards. He's got 997 yards twice. Yeah, Davante Adams is phenomenal. Not going to be the speediest guy, but good God, is he going to break your ankles? Because the routes that he runs are so crisp and so perfect. His footwork is so incredible. You can't do anything about it. Even when you know they're going to throw to Davante Adams, he's still going to get it. He's still going to get it. I mean, now this year when it's the last dance, oh God, Davante Adams, he might even catch more. He might catch 20 touchdowns, and that's not even an exaggeration. He might catch 20. Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in the league. End of story. But that's my list of the top 10. Let me know what you think. Do you think there should be other guys like Metcalf or Ridley on this list? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.